It's not that often that a WWE superstar is forced into retirement in their mid-20s, but that's unfortunately the situation that Paige was forced into. Paige came into the WWE when she was just around 18 to 19 years old. By that time, she already had about 5+ years of wrestling experience under her belt. Paige was wrestling from such a young age that by the time she was 19, she already had such a high understanding of the sport and was basically a longtime pro at such a young age. Paige, of course, made NXT history by becoming the first ever women's champion during her first few years with the company. Just about a few years after that, Paige was debuting on the main roster at the age of 21. Not only debuting, but also defeating the longest reigning Divas champion at the time and becoming Divas champion on her first night on the main roster. Despite her main roster career only being just about 3 years long, Paige accomplished so much in these few years. She had a long back and forth feud with AJ Lee. She defeated the Bellas at WrestleMania and even was the leader for the Absolution faction. But after injuring her neck again in a 2017 house show, Paige's in-ring career was done. Paige explained that there was a point during the match that she briefly became paralyzed and couldn't move a muscle. Paige was able to make a recovery from that feeling, but hearing Paige talk about that last match is pretty terrifying, and you can definitely see why WWE will no longer allow her to wrestle no matter what. Now, despite Paige no longer being allowed to wrestle, she's still very talented and has a lot to bring to the table. WWE knew this as well, and that's why they just signed her to a multi-year extension. As we've seen over the last few months, WWE has been hard at work at trying to find a good non-wrestling role to keep Paige on TV. Paige became the SmackDown GM for a short period of time, but would end up being removed from the position. Paige didn't do anything wrong to get removed. WWE had just decided that they no longer wanted any authority figures on TV, so Paige was forced to give the job up. Paige really loved that role, and that was the hardest role for her to let go of. Then Paige came back once again as the manager for the Kabuki Warriors. This partnership between Paige and the Warriors looked promising, but Paige unfortunately had to get a follow-up procedure done to her neck, and that took Paige off the road for months. So much time had went by that WWE just ended up dropping the whole manager role for Paige. Paige did return as their manager for one night on Raw in late 2019, but the Warriors turned heel on her, and that whole segment was done as a way to officially write Paige out of that role. Paige is now doing a phenomenal job on WWE backstage, but she has expressed new interest in revisiting the manager role. During a recent interview with Inside the Ropes, Paige was asked who she would pick to manage, and she said Nia Jax. Paige went on to call Nia Jax one of her best friends and thinks that herself and Nia can pull off that Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar element. You have Paige as the greatest speaker and Nia as the dominant competitor. Paige said that she can see a lot of success for Nia in that role, and she definitely has a point. So let's take Paige's idea and try to turn it into a simple story. Nia Jax is fresh off her return and is coming back from her devastating knee injury. She has to work her way back to the top of the mountain, so she's just trying to pick up some quick wins for the time being. During a backstage interview with Nia Jax, Paige can be seen in the background looking very intrigued by what Nia had just said, and it looks like Paige is up to something. Nia walks by Paige without acknowledging her, but Paige still continues to watch Nia walk down the hall, and it definitely seems like an idea has popped into Paige's head. Nia goes out later on for a match. Despite being the favorite in the match, Nia actually looks like she's in trouble of losing. Out comes Paige running down the ramp, distracting the referee and the opponent, giving Nia just enough time to recover and quickly go for a roll-up win. Nia picks up the win and Paige enters the ring with a smirk on her face as she tries to lift Nia's hand up in the middle of the ring. Nia raises her hand with Paige, but has a very confused look on her face and eventually pulls away before walking out on her own. Paige is interviewed the following week for an explanation on why she helped Nia. Paige explains that she's been watching Nia closely over the past few weeks. and sees a lot of potential in Nia that she wants to help bring out. Nia aggressively approaches Paige and tells her to stay out of her business and that she doesn't need her. But Paige never gives up, and the two eventually get together, and Paige puts Nia back on track to regain the women's championship. Paige served as the main mouthpiece while Nia was the pure muscle. Paige would finally deliver on her promise and help Nia capture the women's championship. But what Nia didn't see coming was her next opponent. After holding on to the title for a few months, the division was starting to weaken out and there wasn't much valid competitors left. That's when Paige and Nia are in the ring together, and Paige is cutting a promo on how she actually found a big challenger for Nia and how it was her biggest threat to date. Nia turns to the entrance ramp, trash talking and waiting for this supposed challenger to appear. Turns out this challenger was already standing in the ring with her, and it was Paige. Paige hits Nia with the microphone, and Nia drops to her knees and is just fully confused. Paige continues the attack on Nia before picking up the title and saying, "I'm back." This sets up Nia Jax against a red-hot returning Paige. If you want to go full nostalgic with the appearance, then you can even have Paige wear her vintage NXT look. Jet black hair and the purple attire that will make for quite the look in her first match back. Now, of course, we have to give Paige the championship win here. You're talking about Paige making a miracle return, so it'll be perfectly topped off with the title win. Now, the chances of anything like this happening in reality is slim to none with Paige's actual health. But we've already seen 2 miracle returns with Daniel Bryan and Edge, so who even knows what the future could hold? What are your thoughts on this story idea? And do you like the concept of Paige managing Nia Jax? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.